everybody. How you doing? Oh, let me get the mic up here. Hello, can you everybody hear me? Hello, hello, hello. All right. Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome to the big show. My name is Mickey, and this is Mickey in the Middle, the quintessential show for Middle Americans, where all Middle Americans are welcome. It doesn't matter where you've been, where you go. It just matters that you're here right now. That you want to believe that you're a Middle American, and that our government is doing the best that they can to support you in your Middle Americanness. Now, we all know that the government is not doing their best to support us as middle Americans. Why? Because they're always cutting deals behind the scene. So tonight, we got a couple of things that we're going to talk about. Just want to let you know that we're going to be talking about Trump and immunity. We're going to be talking about the continuing resolution that is currently on the desk of our Congress people, our representatives. It's 1,500 plus pages long. So that's probably not going to work. And then if we have a chance, we're going to talk about Social Security and what that means to you and me and everybody else that's out there. So is this thing on? I think this thing is on. So welcome to the big show, everybody. Just want to let everybody know that the holiday seasons are in progress, and here in Greystone Subdivision in Cabot, Arkansas, we're doing pretty good, and we hope that you are doing well too. We're hoping that the economy is holding itself together long enough for us to get through this holiday season and into next year. And we just hope that you're going to enjoy yourself through the holiday season and at the beginning of next year at least. So, stock market is down. It's been down like 9 continuous days in a row. So that's not good. However, uh, I think we got a chance. I really, seriously, honestly think that we have a chance. So let's jump right into this. Let's go talk about Trump and immunity. So let me get this up right here. This is the headline that I got off of Yahoo News. The judge rules Trump conviction stands. So, for those of you who do not know what happened, Donald Trump was taken to court by Alvin Bragg in New York and charged with 34 felonies, which the jury of his peers, now who can be the peer of a billionaire land developer in New York? I'm not really sure. And the fact that the statute of limitations was overdue on this, and the fact that the Department of Justice wouldn't touch it, the fact that it's federal charges brought down and brought on by the state in New York City specifically, the fact that all of that happened is irrelevant to the conversation that we're about to have. And the reason why I say that is Donald Trump was being accused of paying off a porn star for, I got to get this right. Donald Trump was accused of paying off a porn star with federal campaign funds in order to keep her quiet. And apparently that was 34 different counts. Somehow they twisted it into 34 different counts. And that's okay. That's fine with me. I don't care. But the fact is that it was a federal election campaign law that the Department of Justice said that they were not going to prosecute Donald Trump on. But Alvin Bragg in this state of New York, in the city of New York City, said that we're going to bring the charges if the federal government doesn't. So what happened was that happened. He was took the, and this dude right here was the judge. Now, his name is Juan Merchan, Judge Juan Merchan, and he oversaw the trial. And then when he was found guilty of 34 charges and charged $100 million in restitutions to the state of New York, he appealed that to the Supreme Court and said, I was the president of the United States and I have immunity, so these charges should be dropped. What the Supreme Court said was, the Supreme Court said, we're going to turn this back to the judge, and the judge has to consider whether Donald Trump was acting in the role of the president of the United States, or was he acting as a private citizen? Now, When this came out, a lot of people freaked out about it and they said, oh my God, Donald Trump now has immunity. That means that the wheels are going to fall off and that justice will not be served and that the president of the United States should not have immunity under these circumstances. And everybody freaked out and said, Donald Trump is going to get off on this. Well, fact of the matter is that the Supreme Court just said, hey, was he acting as a private citizen or as the president of the United States? This judge right here, Merchan, Judge Juan Merchan, said, after carefully evaluating the evidence, I have determined that he was acting as a private citizen. Now, on my Facebook page, some people were complaining. Some of my friends were complaining. And as they were complaining, they were saying Donald Trump is going to get off on all charges because now he has immunity and everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket. Well, because it went back to the state, this guy said, no, it still applies. And I was trying to tell people that. I was trying to say, listen, you just can't freak out about this stuff because the law is the law. They have the right to a trial. They have the right to be found guilty. They have the right to be found innocent. They also have the right to appeal. They appealed it to the higher authority. Now they're going to appeal this again because that's the way the law works. You got to understand, we have a whole bunch of constitutional protections in the Constitution of the United States. This is a little book that I got from somewhere. I don't know. Where did I get this? I got this from, I don't know, the Heritage Foundation, maybe? Order more Constitution copies, sharetheconstitution.com. So I got this from sharetheconstitution.com. And this has got the Constitution of the United States in it. That's my quick reference guide. The reason why I bring this up is because this has a bunch of protections for everybody that says, hey, look here, you have the Fifth Amendment, and so you don't have to incriminate yourself. You get the right to a defense. You also get the right to appeal, and you get the right to have all of the levels of justice applied to you in your case, which means that you can appeal all the way up to the Supreme Court if the court system takes your case, and the Supreme Court took the case. Why is this important? Because you have protection just like the president has protection. And if you get protection and the president doesn't get protection, if somebody doesn't get protection, that means that it's no good. That means that the entire system's no good. Now, here's what happened. What happened was people freaked out. And I said, listen, the judge is going to determine that Donald Trump was acting as a private citizen in his role when he was paying off the porn star. You can equate it like this. At all levels of government, they have immunity while they are acting in their professional capacity in there. So the mayor of your city, when they are making decisions for the city and they are saying how to spend the money or what the different rules are going to be, if it goes through the city council, then it goes through the mayor, and the mayor signs that and enacts it into law in your city. The mayor of your city has immunity from acts as an official member of the government. It also extends to sheriff's offices, to state representatives, to state senators, to the governor. They all have immunity for official acts. That extends to congressmen, senators, President of the United States. Most of the federal agencies also have this immunity. Now, why is that important? Because they don't have immunity if you are having an argument with your mayor in town about the location of a fence or about the runoff of water or because something else that happens in the neighborhood. If the judge wrecks into your, or if the mayor wrecks into your car, the mayor is not acting in an official capacity unless he is going from point A to point B as the mayor of the town. Why is this important? It's important because if the mayor wrecks his car and the mayor's going to lunch on a Saturday afternoon and just going to lunch, the mayor does not have immunity from that. So, just like President Trump does not have immunity when he pays off a porn star, your mayor does not have immunity when he's acting as a private citizen. So the judge determined that President Trump was acting as a private citizen when he paid off the porn star. Now, what's going to happen now that the judge has said that he was acting as a private citizen? Well, Trump's team, and I'm prognosticating. Yeah, I'm prognosticating. That means I'm seeing into the future. I'm prognosticating that Trump's legal team in New York is going to try to get this thrown out on a different appeal. He only appealed the fact that he had immunity. He didn't appeal the fact that these were federal charges brought down by a local DA. They didn't appeal that yet. They did not appeal the simple fact that it was beyond the statute of limitations. So the statute of limitations on something like that was like 3 years, maybe 4 years, maybe 5 years, who knows? But here's the deal is, Trump's legal team is smart. They're going to only appeal one part of this case at a time until they get the result that they're looking for. Steve Hayes, how you doing, brother? Congratulations, man. You're the first person to comment. Steve Hayes, my good friend from down there in Florida, living in the villages. Just want to let you know he's a good dude. And next summer, I'm going to go down and visit him. So I'm not getting a lot of comments tonight. So, Steve, good on you, brother. So that's what the deal is with the legal case against Trump. Trump's team is going to slow roll this for as long as they possibly can until the judge gets tired of it and throws out the case, or until the Supreme Court gets tired of it and the Supreme Court says, hey, you're right. That was federal election law being prosecuted at the local level, and the local level does not have the right to prosecute federal crimes at the local level, considering that the Department of Justice did not prosecute him for the same thing. Also, the simple fact that it was beyond the statute of limitations is another is another fact of the case that can also be appealed up the ladder to the other judges that are also in the state and also to the Supreme Court. So they're going to slow roll this. So don't panic. But I just wanted to point out to everybody that was on my Facebook feed when I said Trump was acting as a private citizen and he will still be found guilty by the judge, then that's just it. People should listen to me. I'm not always right, but I was right on this one. All right. So, was there anything else about the judge? I don't think that there was anything else about that case that we need to talk about right now. But anyway, as of right now, Donald J. Trump, the president, incoming president, the 47th president of the United States of America, is still guilty of the 34 felony charges brought by Alvin Bragg and overseen by Judge Juan Merchan. There you go. So this paper is out of here. All right. So next up, Congress is working on a continuing resolution in Congress. It is to keep the federal government running until March. Now, I don't know why the federal government keeps running out of money. Here's the deal is all they had to do is talk to the Fed, and the Fed can print more money for them. And that's the way that it works. But here's what the crazy thing is about this. This bill is 1,500 pages long. It only takes a couple hundred pages to do a continuing resolution in Congress in order to fund the government until March. It only costs $380 billion a year to run the federal government to keep it open until March. So you're asking yourself, hey, if it only costs $380 billion to keep the government open until March, why are we about to have our Congress people vote to spend $100 billion to keep the difference, or to keep the government open until March? Because that's a difference of $62 billion. You're on the hook for $100 billion, of which only $380 billion is required to keep the government open. That means that there's $62 billion that your representatives are about to waste if this continuing resolution passes as written. Now, this is the way that this works. This shows you that the entire system is crooked. In order to get the votes, in order to pass this, they have to go to each congressperson, and there's 435 of them, and they have to go, hey, in order for you to sign off on this bill, which should cost $380 billion to fund the federal government through March, what do you want? What do you want? We'll give you whatever you want. All you have to do is take up one of these 1,500 pages, and we will give you whatever you want. You know what they got in there? They've got $8 billion for a new football stadium. Does our federal government really need a new football stadium? You know who the Washington Commanders are? I think it's the Washington Commanders. They used to be the Washington Redskins. But now they're the Washington Commanders. They used to play in JFK Stadium. Well, now they got a new facility. But I don't know who owns the facility, because apparently Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, does not own that. The federal government owns it in conjunction with the Commanders. They're a damn football team. They make hundreds of millions of dollars a year. They can't figure out how to pay for their own damn stadium. See, what happened was, and here's the deal, the District of Columbia is, I think it's 10 miles wide by 10 miles long. It's not very big. Anyway, that was carved out of Maryland and Virginia, and that belongs to the federal government. So everybody that lives inside of Washington, D.C. actually lives on federal property. So they work there, they live there, they party there, they drink there, they go to restaurants, they got stores there. Anyway, I think it's 10 by 10. If I'm wrong on that, somebody correct me. Mark, if you're watching, you're my fact checker. So Mark Calcaterra, do me a favor, fact check that. I think that Washington, D.C. is 10 miles by 10 miles square. Inside of that, apparently they have a football stadium. And that football stadium's not good enough because things get old. But I got a question for you. Why do the Washington Commanders, I think it might be outside of D.C. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Here's what the deal is. We're going to be paying $8 billion for a new stadium. That crazy? If this bill passes. They want $50 million annually for a water program in the United States of America. That's $50 million annually. Why wasn't $50 million included an omnibus spending package that is approved every year by Congress so that we can see the line item items so that it doesn't get stuck in a continuing resolution by the end of the year? Because all of this stuff has to be done. If we're going to run out of money this weekend and the government is going to shut down on Monday, why is a water bill worth $50 million every single year moving forward in this particular bill? That's crazy. Congress, who has not had a pay raise in a really long time, they want to give every single congressperson that's up there is 435, probably the senators too, another $6,000 a year. Why is the pay raise for Congress in this thing? That's crazy. Here's a great one. They want to have a feral swine eradication program. Here's what the deal is. Buy me another AR-15 and I'll go out and start shooting feral hogs myself. How come the state's not handling that? Why do we need the federal government to be getting involved with feral swine eradication issues? You know what that is? Those are hogs. Those are wild hogs, like razorbacks. I'm from the state of Arkansas. Excuse me. I'm from the state of Arkansas. The state bird for Arkansas is a razorback, which is a feral hog. And by the way, they're meaner than hell too. You don't ever want to get stomped. You don't ever want to get ass stomped by a feral swine. I'm telling you, razorback. That's why the University of Arkansas, that's why their mascot's a razorback. We know how dangerous they are, and I guarantee that you do not want to run across one in the woods because they are pissed off all the time. They are big, they're solid muscle, and they're meaner than hell. But why are we spending money on a feral swine eradication program from the federal government when that should be handled by local politicians and local wildlife initiatives in the state? But they want money for that. Here's another one. And I don't understand why we're paying for this at the federal government. I'm gonna start off with this. I don't understand why we're paying for this from the federal government. We're going to be paying for juvenile delinquents to get driver's licenses, driver licenses, parentheses, or apostrophe, whatever the heck that is, right? Why is the federal government getting involved with this? Listen, I understand the juvenile delinquents need to have driver's license. I get that. If they go and they get into detention and these delinquents serve their time, that we need to be able to get them back on the road again, and we need to be able to get them living the good life. But why is the federal government getting involved with this? This sounds like a very, very local issue. And if it's a local issue, I don't understand why the federal government's getting involved with this. Why are they spending so much money down here at the state level when we have 50 individual nations? Each state is a nation. That's why we have a governor and a legislative branch and judicial branch. Each state is a nation. We don't call the governors presidents, but we could. The term governor is only a holdover from when England was ruling the United States of America, and they had governors in Massachusetts, they had a governor in New York, they had a governor in North Carolina, in Virginia, in Massachusetts, or New Hampshire, and maybe up in Maine, I don't know, Connecticut, Virginia. They had governors of all of those territories, and those territories ended up becoming states. And they didn't change the name of the person that was in charge of them, but each state, matter of fact, I might have to talk to the people in the state of Arkansas and get them to start calling our governor president of the state of Arkansas. So it'll be President Sarah Huckabee, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, whatever her name is. We need to make her the president of Arkansas to set a new standard and to let everybody understand that each state is its own nation. So each state has to negotiate with other states on trade, on transportation, about what they're going to accept from other states. So in the state of Arkansas, for example, we have concealed carry permits that are recognized in like 30 different states, because that was negotiated between our government and the governments of the other states. Now, California told us to piss off. Illinois told us to piss off. New York, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Connecticut, they all told Arkansas to piss off, that they're not going to recognize the concealed carry permits out of Arkansas. But states like Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Mississippi, I don't know whether Colorado's in there or not. I don't know. You can go online and you can find the other states. But that's what states do. So states are responsible for each one of the departments that we currently have at the federal government. Each state has an EPA. Each state has an OSHA. Each state has wildlife management. Each state has construction standards. Each state has their own laws for taxes. Each law has their own finance department. Think about it. Each one of our states is specifically a nation. So, oh, hey, I finally started getting some more text. Tor Black says, yes, feral hogs, I am in. I believe that Torrance won the shooting competition at a local range for having the most points, like in a 2-month competition. He must have been down there just racking out the rounds. I'm just trying to tell you. That was pretty good. And Tor Black says, better have a big board to put those feral hogs down. You betcha. Carolyn Greg's Ledger. I'm early. Oh my gosh, I started at 8 instead of 9. Oh my gosh, I had another. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, Carolyn. Oh my gosh. I started getting behind in my day-to-day activities today, and I did start early. I apologize. I am so sorry. I did start early. That's my bad. Jeff LeMay, kickbacks, Mr. Mickey. Jeff LeMay, you're 100% right. That continuing resolution is all about kickbacks to the senators. Now, here's what my question is. And this is what my question is. All of the people in Congress can't do the right thing just because it's the right fucking thing to do. They just can't go in there and go, hey, look here, we need to do a continuing resolution to keep the government open. Can you guys sign this and just sign off on it one time? We don't have to cut a back door deal that you don't have to. No, my people aren't going to get it. Your people aren't supposed to get anything out of it except for a continuing resolution. That's all they're supposed to get. They're supposed to be able to keep the government open. That should be enough for all those congressmen and women that are up there. Come on. What the hell are we doing here? Oh, it's only 380 billion dollars. It's 380 billion dollars to keep the government open, and we have to spend 100 billion. I would like to point out it's more than twice as much to keep the federal than the bill is twice as much plus some than the cost of keeping the government open. What are we doing? What are we doing? So, I was watching something earlier today, and the simple fact of the matter is Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, their idea, which I'm going to tell you I had first, was Operation 535. Operation 535 says that the Congress people that don't do what the people want should be immediately voted out. I started a webpage. You need to go there. It's called Operation 535, www.operation 535. You need to go to that page and you need to look at that because it says, hey, look here, we need to start all over with Congress because all of the people that are in Congress are doing a shitty job. They're doing a horrible job. They all need to be voted out. Not just one or two, not just 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, all of them, all 535. I was a big fan of Mike Johnson, who is a representative from Louisiana, who is currently the Speaker of the House. He followed up Nancy Pelosi, who I believe was in my top 5 worst politicians in the history of the United States of America. My worst politician was Harry Reid out of Nevada. He was also Speaker of the House. That dude did more damage to the Constitution of the United States and the way that the House of Representatives operated. But anyway, Mike Johnson is not doing us any favors by putting up a continuing resolution that says that we're going to spend $100 billion when we only need to spend $380 billion. But that you're right, Jeff. They go into these backdoor deals and then they start cutting the deal for 100,000 there and 50,000 there and another 5 million there, another $15 million there. And the next thing you know, our government is overspending on shit that they shouldn't be spending money on because it belongs in the state. It's the craziest thing. That means that they're all crooked. If anybody asks for anything that's in that bill, and you never know who asked for it, you never know who asked for it unless it's specifically going to a state. And the reason why, because they don't want visibility on that. They don't want transparency. What they want is they want to be able to do whatever they want, take your money, take my money, and give it to the people that is not you and me. They want to give it to Big Pharma. What else they want? Oh my God, I'm so mad. They want to have federal dollars for molasses inspections. Now, I'm telling you right now, we don't have a lot of molasses trees in Arkansas. Why in the hell are my tax dollars going to go in a continuing resolution bill to fund molasses inspections? Did you know that most molasses is not molasses? Go to your grocery store, and if it doesn't say one ingredient on the bottle, molasses, then it's not molasses. That means that they've added high fructose syrup to it, that they've added all kinds of additives to it. Molasses will stay on its own on a shelf for years and years and years. They don't need to add anything to it. And we're going to have molasses inspections. How about if they get into those companies that are putting high fructose corn syrup in some mixed up brown syrupy stuff, and then they add stuff to it to make it thicker? Why don't they go and inspect those companies and find out how healthy it is for our children? Because it's not healthy for our children. What it is poisoning us all. Have you seen how fat I am? Oh my gosh. That's all I do is just eat and drink garbage. And it's my fault. That's my fault. But the molasses is their fault. And now they want to spend my money outside of the normal omnibus budget process to inspect molasses. They can kiss my asses. That's all I got to say for that. They will clean the swamp. You have another hour, y'all. Hey, all right. I'll be in for another hour. All right. So I'm 30 minutes into this. So I'm going to have to talk about Social Security next time. So, but I will be back in 1 hour. I will be back in 30 minutes. I'm going to take a break and I'm going to come back at 9 o'clock in order to do this all over again. And I will have more stuff that I've got to get off my chest. And I just want to say thank you very much for everybody tuning in. This is Mickey in the Middle, the quintessential show for middle Americans, where all middle Americans are welcome. It doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter where you're going. I was wondering why nobody was watching at 8 o'clock because I'm on at 9. But I'm telling you right now, I will be back in 30 minutes to do this all over again. It's going to be part 2 of Mickey in the Middle on December 18th. So you guys have a great night. Oh, I'm not going to have a show next Wednesday. I'm not going to have a show on New Year's Eve or New Year's. So I'm not doing a show next week or the week after. I'm going to take a little bit of time for myself. I'm going to go hang out in Tulsa with my daughter, with my in-laws in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Uh, I want you guys to have a very, very Merry Christmas, a great New Year. Happy holidays for all of those who do not believe in Christmas. It's the holiday spirit, regardless of that. I hope that you have a fantastic rest of the 2024, and I hope you have a blessed 2025. I will see you in a couple of weeks if I don't see you in a half an hour. You guys all be good. I love you. Take care. God bless. See ya.